David Pogue this morning tells us all about the surprising resurrection of an infamous nuclear power plant and the tech giant funding its unlikely comeback.
It might have seemed like one of the weirder headlines of 2024. Microsoft is paying $1.6 billion to restart 3 Mile Island.
Radioactive xenon gas is still being discharged.
That's the nuclear power plant whose reactor number 2 had a partial meltdown in 1979.
A government official said that a breakdown in an atomic power plant in Pennsylvania today is probably the worst nuclear reactor accident to date.
Only 2 new plants have been started since that accident.
That was the reactor where we had the problem.
Joe Dominguez is the CEO of Constellation Energy, which owns about half of America's 54 nuclear plants.
By 2030, Microsoft will be carbon negative.
AI data centers require huge amounts of electricity. Big tech realized that they wouldn't make their goals without taking power into their own hands. Only weeks after Microsoft's announcement, both Amazon and Google announced major investments in nuclear power.
This is a deal to bring the first advanced nuclear reactor online by 2030, and we're not going to do just one reactor, but we hope to buy from what will be a series of reactors that follow that.
Michael Terrell heads Google's decarbonization efforts. Google is supplementing its already enormous green energy investments with a new kind of nuclear called small modular reactors.
These are not the nuclear power plants of yesterday with the very large cooling towers. These are much smaller facilities.
Nuclear power isn't perfect. It still produces waste that has to be safely stored. Kairos is building 3 small demonstration plants in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And how much carbon dioxide emissions compared to the coal?
Zero.
It still produces waste that has to be safely stored.
It still produces waste.
What's the catch?
There's only one problem with small modular reactors. They don't really exist.
George Washington University professor Sharon Squassoni spent 15 years researching nuclear safety for the government. Joe Dominguez's team is getting 3 Mile Island ready for Microsoft.
It's this blend of old and new that's really...
Including renaming the plant the Crane Clean Energy Center. It still produces waste that has to be safely stored. As of 2030, does it look like you'll make the zero carbon goal?
It is an incredibly ambitious goal, 24/7 carbon-free energy everywhere we operate, everywhere around the world.
It still produces waste that has to be safely stored.